Alright guys, welcome back to another special election live stream. I'm your host Jared Moore, as you guys know if you tune into the channel. And on tonight's program we're going to be waiting for the results to come in. If this is your first Muskogee Creek Nation special election or your first Muskogee Creek Nation election, or the first time coming on one of our live streams, so the results for the election will be released on the Muskogee Creek Nation Election Board Facebook page first, which is right here. There's a link to it in the description of this live stream. And so if you don't want to watch the live stream, you don't have to watch the live stream. You can just go and refresh that link on Facebook. That's where we're going to get the first information coming in. You may be asking yourself, why are we starting a live stream so late? So let me pop up the laptop here and we'll kind of explain what's going on. You can see here 1 hour ago there were the early voting and absentee results of the 2026 special election. All results are unofficial till next Friday. So these are the results that, let me pop them up here. This has been up for a while, but before I get to that, let me explain why we're starting so late. So here you can see that they posted 4 hours ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, the Glenpool Indian Community Center voting site did not open until 9:26 a.m. The Glenpool Indian Community Center voting site will remain open till 9:26 p.m. So that's why we're starting so late, is because we're waiting. The polls would normally close at 7 o'clock, but they kept the Glenpool Center open until 9:26 because it opened late. So that's basically, we're just going to wait for the results. Let me go over the unofficial early voting and absentee voting results. So here you can see that on NCA 26-060, for the yes, we have 57%. So you may be asking yourself what the percentage has to be for the amendment to pass, and it needs to be over 66%. That's because the Constitution, let me just show you that. Whoops. This is the Supreme Court's website. Let's look at the Constitution. We can scroll down here to amending the Constitution here. Sorry, it's taking me a second. Here we go. So you can see here that it says I'm looking at number 2 right here. The Constitution shall be amended by a 2/3 affirmative vote of the eligible voters who vote in the special election. So 2/3 is basically 66%. Now these results here are going to get added in with the day of voting. So this isn't a final result for anything. This is just the early votings. So you can see here on absentee voting, 57% for NCA 26-060 and 52% for early voting. And you may ask yourself, which one is that? So let's look at the sample ballot here. And you'll see that 26-060 is the change of the name from Creek, removing Creek and adding Muskogee. So that one, it looks like that one hasn't made that percentage that it needs yet, but all of the other ones have so far. So absentee voting for 26-061, 77 and 73, that's enough, with the total being 77. The NCA 26-062, we got 80% with 19%, and then with 26-063, you have 84% with 15%. So if we were just going on absentee and early voting, right now, all of the amendments passed except for the name change amendment. That was the first one. So that's where we are so far. Let me refresh the page here and make sure we don't have results coming in yet. Sorry. Not yet. So let me come back. Okay, guys. So this is the part of the evening where we are waiting for the results to come in. And normally in these situations, and if you guys have a topic or something you want me to talk about or look into, you can pop it into the chat there. But normally this is the part of the evening where either I talk or I put on some archive stuff. I do have a special treat for you guys tonight because I have an archive video that we're going to launch next week on our YouTube channel. It's a From the Vault. But since you guys are tuning in, I'll give you a sneak peek. It's the 1977 MCN Princess Pageant, right? Now, there was a problem with the archival tape that the entire pageant didn't get captured, right? But we do have a large portion of it, and it's interesting. We weren't able to figure out who the winner of the pageant was because our paper archives only go back to 78. But if you guys are interested in seeing that, pop it in the chat. Or actually, I wanted to try something because we can do a poll. I'm going to start a poll, and I've never done a poll in here before. Normally I just ask you guys what you want to do and people post it. But I thought it would be fun because I've never done one. So do you guys want to watch the 1977 Princess Pageant? All right, let's see what happens. Okay. I don't know what that... Okay, so something happened there. If you're in the chat, you can click that button, I think, and vote. I've never done one of these, so I don't know how they work. And until we have some results there on that, the other thing I wanted to point out to you guys before we go into any archive stuff is there's been some... news that's dropped this week that I probably am still going to include in Lawyered Up because on Monday, June 1st, Representative White Cloud has her court date that I'm going to go to, and then I'll be doing a Lawyered Up after that. But the stories for both of these things are already on our website. I just wanted to talk about them a little bit with you guys to say, hey, take a look at these. We got 50% yes on our poll. So it's still inconclusive. Let me pop this up for you guys. The first thing I wanted to, and there's a lot of great stories on here. The first thing I wanted to point out, though, is this MCN Tulsa settlement agreement in jeopardy. And I just wanted to, I encourage you to go and read the story. There's also links to all of the documents here, right? But in a nutshell, what happened is the Oklahoma Supreme Court, so there are two things that are currently agreements with the city of Tulsa and the Creek Nation. One of them is the Memorandum of Understanding or the cross-deputization agreement. So the cross-deputization agreement ensures that if you're a Creek citizen, you can call the Tulsa police or the Light Horse police, and both of them can respond to anything. There was a period where before and after the filing of MCN versus City of Tulsa that was up in the air. And I wanted to, before I talk about this story, tell you guys that cross-deputization agreement, it still exists. This ruling that happened isn't going to affect the cross-deputization agreement. It's only going to affect the settlement agreement between the Muskogee Creek Nation and the City of Tulsa. And basically, the Oklahoma Supreme Court said that because the settlement agreement establishes some committees that would include representatives from the Creek Nation on the committee, and those committees were to try to help form the plans and stuff to make sure that any legal things that were passed with the city of Tulsa would be okay with the Creek Nation, right? It's basically like advisory boards and stuff. But since the settlement agreement included those things, the Oklahoma Supreme Court said that there needs to be legislative action to get permission to do that. Governor Stitt and the legislature, there's a committee in the legislature that would have to sign off that. All that's in the story, so you could check out. It's not going to affect the cross-deputization agreement, though, just to I wanted to get that part out to you guys. But I encourage you to go read that story. I'm going to scroll down here to... we had talked on Lawyered Up before. We're at 67% on to watch the princess pageant. So I'm going to, what I'm going to do is go ahead and pop that up. And what it's going to look like is the From the Vault video is going to play, but also in a little window is going to be the election board's Facebook page. So if you're watching, I'm going to be refreshing that page. And as soon as some results come in there, right, I will pop back on and we'll go through the results, and then the stream will probably wrap up. But so there will be a little cube in the window that will keep refreshing that you'll see down there. That won't be in the video we upload next week. And also this video is going to get uploaded next week before the pageant. It's kind of like a thing to say, hey, you know, pageant's this weekend. But so if you want to watch that by itself, that's there. But because we're at 67%, I'm going to go ahead and pop that up. Let me do this first.
We might as well get started. It's, I know it's hot, crowded. I want to welcome you to the 3rd Annual Creek Nation Festival. Tonight starts the events that will run through Sunday afternoon. First on the agenda we'll have the Lord's Prayer done by Regina Lowe of Willeka, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. William Wynn of Willeka. And the singing will be done by Margie Whitehouse. She's the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Edward Wright of Wetumpka and the niece of Charles Fish, who's vice chairman of the Dustin Indian community.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Thank you. As you know, this is our third annual event, which will include our Creek Nation Rodeo. And this year's festival is planned and implemented by the communities. They each elected their representative to represent them on this festival committee. And I know most of y'all sitting out there, and I appreciate this chance to do the MCN. They asked me to do it. But the man responsible for a lot of things going on in the Creek Nation today, the fact that our people are again working together for events, for programs, and that's our Honorable Chief, Claude Cox.
Thank you, Steve. I also want to welcome each of y'all here to the Creek Nation and the festivals and the programs that we have lined out for the next evening and 2 days that are ahead of us. It's took a lot of work, a lot of time, and these committees have done a real good job, I think, in putting this thing together, and hope that everybody will stay and enjoy throughout these Creek Nation activities. I thought a few years ago when I became your chief and started planning for things like this, walked in this room here and I thought, my goodness, that's a great big room. But you know, we need one about 5 times this size. Don't you think so, Harley? Well, if the good Lord's with us, my health holds out, by this time next year, we hope that we'll have one 5 times this big. It's been a challenge to a lot of us to work within the tribe to bring these things about, and we've had some real good support from both the Indian and the non-Indian in bringing these about. And we're hopeful that in the near future that you will see a lot more things developing here in the Creek Nation. I'll not take up too much of your time because I know we're kind of close here, and it kind of reminds me of a meeting in Macon, Georgia, right after I got elected, and it came up a storm that run us all in Macon, Georgia National Park building down there, and it was just about a room a little bit smaller than this, and they didn't have any air conditioning. Boy, we like to melt it. So, but we do have a little air conditioning here with that good old public service electricity that's coming down the pike that hope will keep us cool. I worked there for about 35 years, so I know that they won't fail us. I'd like to recognize some of the people that I've had a chance to meet this evening that has come quite a ways. We have with us Miss Nesport from South Dakota and a group of children from Pine Ridge, South Dakota. Would they stand, please, and be recognized? Miss Nesport? We're really happy to have this group with us, and they're going to stay with us till Monday. So we'll want to show them all of Creek Nation and what we have here. Thank you. Also, we have, I don't know whether he'd be a stranger or not, but he came from a long ways. Ed Perkins, who is from Window Rock, Arizona, a Navajo, who was here at our first annual events here about 3 years ago. And so this evening I walked in here and here he sat. Ed, would you stand? We're glad to have you back here with us today. We have also here with us a family who I think needs to be recognized because their daughters had a great hand in putting this thing together. And I think that they were the ones that need to be recognized here tonight. That's Mr. and Mrs. Jimmy Five. You know, it's always hard to find people to judge in these different events, especially in these princess contests and different things. And so they throwed that up on me to select a few people to do the judging. And you know, I didn't have a bit of trouble. I believe if I just asked for volunteers to just come in. These boys, they came right in and they've done a good job. And at this time, I'd like to introduce these gentlemen to you. We had one that was not able to be here with us this evening, and that's Dr. Leola Taylor from the Eufaula Boarding School. She couldn't be here with us this evening. We do have Richard Larney, Police Chief from Henrietta, Oklahoma. Sitting next to him is our Vice Chief, Solomon McCombs. And next to him is a young man that I kind of feel like it's my own. I brought him here several years ago, and he worked for Public Service Company for about 25 years. And when I left away, he took over and he's running the Okmulgee area here. Jimmy Lewis, Public Service Company, Okmulgee. Another young man here that grew up right here, might say right under my wing. I've known him for a long time. That has really made a lot of tracks around through the different schools, and he has wound up with the Bureau of Indian Affairs in Muskogee, Oklahoma. Hardy Little. I also would like to introduce the Vice Chief's wife, Mrs. McCombs. I'm real thankful, and I can't thank those people enough that has been working with me and bringing these things about. And I want to thank the communities that have been organized real late and have come a long ways in a short time. And they've done a real good job working with Steve. And I think you'll be seeing these communities out in different areas that's going to really identify the Creek Nation in a lot of areas, as it has right here. I'll not take up too much time, and Steve, if you'll come back to the podium, I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. There's one person that Chief forgot to mention because she just walked in, and she has been the chairman of the festival committee that the community members representatives voted for as chairman. She is also on the council, and she is also the chairperson of the Walika community. And if you want to see a community going, go watch that one. Nettie Scott. Tonight, we're going to do the final judging of the Princess Contest. We had the preliminaries yesterday in talent and in the personality. Each one of the contestants met with the judges and talked with them individually and were scored. Tonight, they will be in their traditional dress, and this is their final judging. We have 9 candidates representing 9 communities in the Creek Nation. At the last meeting of the Creek Nation Festival Committee, they expressed the idea that maybe our princess one day may become Miss Indian USA. So this could be a start tonight for the Creek Nation Princess to go all the way to the top as the #1 Indian girl in America. And in our judging, they have expressed their ideas that the Creek people could have an outstanding contest, and they have given us ideas and have expressed their need that they would come to one of our meetings and help us plan next year's festival. So this year is a good year, but next year will be better because a lot of these people in these communities have never been a part of any type of planning that went into this festival. But they've been through it now. and they'll know what to do next year. Nettie says she's going to Honolulu. She ain't going to be around for elections. So, but she's been a good leader, and we've kind of looked up to her for her leadership, as has all the community leaders. They've taken it upon themselves to handle the events that's going to be going on Saturday. Jaeger community took over the archery contest, raised money for their trophies that's going to be given out. Now this is the type of spirit that's going on in the communities. Now on with the contest. From the Castle Muskogee Indian community, we have Rowena Sands. Rowena is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Jonah Sands of Castle, Oklahoma, and the granddaughter of Mrs. Lena Sands, also of Castle. She is a freshman at Seminole Junior College and is taking secretarial science. She likes to play basketball, softball, volleyball, and track. She received the Merit O Awards in basketball for 4 years, was the Spanish Club Queen, and has received medals in track. Next we have Ginger Lee, representing the Dewar Indian community. She is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Woody Lee of Hoffman, Oklahoma, and the granddaughter of Mrs. Mary Combs, also of Hoffman. She is a freshman at Connors College in Warner. She's got a lot of awards. She was cheerleader, FFA sweetheart, football queen attendant at Henrietta, FHA member of the month, won art awards at Umaga and Henrietta. She plays the piano for her church. She received the Reserve Grand Champion Award and many other awards and trophies in FFA. She likes horseback riding, softball, basketball, tennis. She likes to paint, draw, and play the piano. Representing the Duck Creek community, we have Sandra Brown. She is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. John Brown of Bixby and the granddaughter of Mrs. Alice Brown of Mounds. Sandra is a junior at Oklahoma State University at Stillwater. Her career interest is in fine arts and commercial design. She likes tennis, racquetball, and foosball. Representing the Dustin Indian community, we have Celia Ann Mickey. She is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Daniel Mickey of Dustin. Celia is attending high school and will be a senior this fall. She likes to play basketball, and she wants to be a physical education coach when she graduates. From the Glenpool Indian community, we have Susan Bible. She is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Jean Bible of Glenpool. She is also the granddaughter of Mr. Alfred Wilson of Glenpool. She is presently attending Glenpool High School, will be a senior this coming fall. She plans to work as a secretary upon graduation. She was a cheerleader, student council representative, basketball queen, basketball all-metro, everything. From the Kellyville Indian community, we have Stephanie Winery. She is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Phil Winery and the granddaughter of Mr. Salo Felix of Kellyville. She is presently attending Kellyville High School and will be a senior this fall. She wants to attend or go into the medical field. She plays softball for the past 3 summers and also interested in track and basketball. Representing Okemah, Donna Watson. She is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Ray Watson of Okemah granddaughter of Mrs. Maddie Fisher of Walika and Mrs. Fanny Watson of Bryant. Donna will be a senior at Okima High School this fall, and her career interests are in bookkeeping, interior design, fashion design, cosmetology, and she would also like to be a stenographer. She received a service award in art, and she was also in the junior-senior high school play this year. From Ofuskie Indian Community, Etta Hicks. She is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Wilson Hicks of Okima, granddaughter of Mrs. Lucy Roberts of Okima. She is presently attending Walika High School. She wants to be a secretary, clerk, typist, or accountant when she finishes high school. She was class vice president and went to the interscholastic meet at Ada in bookkeeping, and she was also an usher at the senior prom. Senior graduation. From the Yeager Indian Community, Connie Sewell. She is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Archie Sewell of Holenville, and the granddaughter of Mrs. Lillian Scott of Holenville. Connie graduated from Holenville High School. Her career interests are in psychology and medicine. Her achievements in high school were in typing, science, English, basketball, and volleyball. It's a shame we have to have losers because they're all pretty and they're all talented. But whoever wins or whoever loses, we can be very proud of these girls. At this time, I'd like to introduce Ruth Harrington. She is the professor of speech and coordinator of Indian Studies at Northeastern Oklahoma State University at Tahlequah. She's born in Tulsa. She has a BA in speech, MA in speech, and a PhD in speech. And she's the co-commentator tonight in the fashion show portion of the program. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Ruth Harrington.
Thank you. And as you can quickly see, the contest is over. Now we're getting ready for the Fife collection. And it's my pleasure to be here to introduce you to the Fife collection. This is a sample line of clothing that we as Creeks can be very proud to say some members of our tribe have put together from the very, very beginning. Each of the items in this collection has a label indicating that it is a part of the Fife collection, and each of the outfits is signed on the dress or on the outfit by the particular designer who constructed that particular outfit. You would like to know, I'm sure, the Creek people who are associated with the Fife collection. It's a family affair. And this, I think, is particularly outstanding. It is the Fife family, the James Fife family from Dustin. And the women in the family are the Fife collection. Mr. Fife has quite a collection. His wife, Carmen, the daughter, Sharon Fife, and the daughters, Carol Fife, Phyllis, Sandy, and Robin. All of these women have contributed to the show that you're going to be seeing this evening. I suspect that you may be a little interested in taking a picture or two, but if you would you mind no pictures during the show? This is the way the designers would prefer it, please. I would like to tell you a little bit about my introduction to the Fife collection. It was last year at this time. I saw it advertised as a part of the Creek Festival. I already knew about the rodeo, and I decided, I believe I'll go look at the pretty clothes. And I did. It was fun to see, not only the pretty clothes, but the very fine spirit that was involved in this Creek family affair. Well, that acquaintance started a little something else. a desire on my part. I wanted a creek dress. When I'd go to Indian activities, best I could do was sport a creek necklace. Well, I managed, and I'd like to show you the dress that Phyllis Fife Patrick made for me. It took us a while. It didn't take Phyllis so long to make it, but it did take us a while to find the right pattern, the right style, to make it my special creek dress. I'd like you to see the designs on the skirt on the front and the back, and to notice the belt with the dress. This is your first chance to see a dress in the Fife collection. I don't know that I deserve that, but the dress did, it seems to me. You see, now I have a dress that's my creek dress that I can wear very proudly because the designs are creek and the dress was made by my friend Phyllis Fife. It is a part of the creek collection, though it stays at my house. I now would like to have you meet the other commentator who's going to help you to see the fashions that will be shown to you tonight. And my fellow commentator is that young lady who made my dress. And I'd like to tell you just a little bit more about her. She was born in Dustin, and she attended public school there. But not only that, Phyllis was also educated at the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe, at Northeastern Oklahoma State University, and has her Bachelor of Fine Arts degree from the University of Oklahoma, and I'm sure you know where that is. Phyllis has paintings that are hanging in a number of museums across the nation, and most recently, an honor that I think is particularly outstanding, one of her paintings has been reproduced in the new Indian art book, Songs from the Earth by Jamaica Highwater. This book was described by Dee Brown recently as a landmark in American Indian art, and the fact that Phyllis and other Creeks have made a contribution to this work is particularly noteworthy at this Creek Festival. Phyllis lives near Stillwell with her husband Don Patrick and her daughter Stacy. And after we got acquainted, we managed to have a show, a Fife Collection show at Northeastern last winter that introduced a continuing education course to teach people how to do American Indian design techniques. We learned, because I enrolled, we learned patchwork, applique, beadwork, as well as ribbon work. My dress utilizes all of those techniques except patchwork. Patchwork's the only one I ever learned to do. But you'll get to see a little bit of all of these techniques tonight. And some were done by Phyllis and some by other members of the family. At this time, may I introduce to you my co-commentator, Phyllis Fife Patrick.
Thank you, Ruth. And I'm very glad I'm going to have a chance to see the fashion show tonight. Usually I'm working backstage and don't get to see it. I'm going to introduce each of our models. And I want to tell you, I like to give the models as much credit as possible because each of them have volunteered their time to make this fashion show possible. Some of them have traveled long distances. We have one from Stillwell, one from Tahlequah, some from the Muskogee area, and one from Newkirk, which is nearly all the way to Kansas. Are we ready?
I think we're ready.
Our first model is Sally Beaver Moore.
Sally is wearing a traditional dress worn by the Creek women of Indian Territory. It was adopted from the European styles of dress. The Creek dress, as no doubt all of us know, was not elaborate. Very little decoration was used, actually. Dark or subdued colors were used more than the bright colors. I think that Sally has a little something she'd like to show you in her pocket. You know, no doubt, that one needs a little money occasionally, and to tie it in the corner of your hanky is a pretty good idea. great improvement over a purse. You don't lose things quite so much that way. And notice too, as I know you have, the long apron. You remember that it was used for dress up or for its utilitarian purpose of cooking. This particular outfit begins our show and gives you an idea of the traditional Creek Indian women's dress.
Jan Harjo Fowler from Henrietta is our next model.
For after dark, here is a long two-part evening dress. The lines fall free from the drawstring neck of the tunic to the full length of the skirt. The simple, soft layered effects are in the mainstream of high fashion this season. The geometric design of the satin ribbon is inspired by the Creek men's breechcloth designs.
Jan is married to Jackie Fowler and they have one daughter, Sheila. She is the secretary for the Creek Nation.
If you look closely, just go ahead and clap. We like to have you clap. You can listen to us you got to hear us a good bit more. I did want to mention though, do look for the signature on the dress. I saw it in red on that one and I thought it might be simple to see. Keep looking, see if you can find one.
Ruth, I'd like to interrupt for a minute. We have quite a number of people waiting in the halls who weren't able to get seats, and Steve Wilson has said that we will have a second showing if the people in the hallway would like to go out and relax somewhere for a little while. We'll have a break and then repeat the fashion show so you can see it again.
That
Made
got a
some
little
people
applause.
happy. Mary Fife is next. Mary is employed by the Creek Nation Housing Authority.
And she is wearing a unique dress in this collection, this gold caftan. The only accent that this dress needs is that border of patchwork draped over one arm. The dress features one sleek fitted side open above the knee to allow for freedom of movement. This is a dress for all seasons.
Mary is married to my brother, Bill Fife, and they have two children, Cinda and Jeff. Mary's from the Ada area, and she's Chickasaw. Sandy Wilson.
And Sandy is wearing this white kettle cloth dress. It features a wide cape collar that comes to a point in the front. It's embroidered in white on the collar in the serpent design. Dress was designed and embroidered by...
Okay, guys. So that was the 1977 Princess Pageant, or what we have of it, right? Because like that little thing that popped up there says the tape was damaged and that's where it cut off. I do think it's still an interesting slice of history there for you guys. I wanted to explain the poll results there that you'll see in the live chat, because at the start of the stream I was like, I'd never done a poll before. I had seen that you could do one. So we tried it out, and here's where I messed up. So when you start the poll, there's like a meter that fills up, and when it got to 67%, I was like, oh, okay, so that means that everybody wants to watch this. And then while the video was playing, I noticed there's a little button on the poll that said end poll. And when I clicked that, that's when those results popped up. So I think how you're supposed to use those polls is, you tell the audience, we're going to take a poll, and then they can vote, but you also tell them there's a window, like we're going to take a poll and in 2 minutes we're going to end the poll, because that ending the poll is what shows the results. Okay, sorry about that. As you can see, let me check this again. We still don't have the results. It is in the studio here, 9:59. So it's been, about 30, 40 minutes. The poll's closed in the Glen pool at 9:26. I did want to point something out though here. The banner on the Creek Nation's election office's page says 2025. So don't get confused though. This is the 2026 special election. But all of these contact information that's on there is still good. So at this point, we're still waiting on the results. I'm open to any suggestion that you guys may have as far as what we do in the live stream here. If there's something you want me to play or something you want me to talk about, I'm going to go back to talking about what I was talking about before, which was some of the stories that are on Muskogee Media related to coverage that we've been doing on Lawyered Up. Another one that I wanted to talk about was the Flop-Flocko decision. If you guys are watching this and you don't know what I'm talking about, there is currently ongoing a leadership dispute at Flop-Flocko Tribal Town. Where the heck is that story? Here we go. We've been covering it a little bit, but basically what's going on is there are different factions that have declared themselves in charge of the town, and different factions have gotten access to their federal grant mechanisms and all types of stuff. So a whole bunch of stuff is going on. The story here covers all of that stuff. There's links to everything. The nutshell of this story, though, is they have finally gotten a decision from the Oklahoma Supreme Court that says that state courts can't get involved in the internal political disputes at tribes. And the reason that the state courts can't do that is because in order for a tribal government to have a case heard in a state court, they have to sign a waiver of sovereign immunity. And because the leadership of Flop-Flocko Tribal Town right now is being disputed, the court doesn't have the ability to decide who is the leadership of the town in order to accept the waiver of sovereign immunity, right? The waiver of sovereign immunity has to come from the tribal government. And if you don't know who's in charge of the tribal government and you accept a waiver of sovereign immunity from a party, you're kind of deciding that this person has the authority to waive sovereign immunity, and you can't do that. So that's where we're at right there. It's unclear where this Flop-Flocko leadership dispute is going to get heard, though, because whatever court they go into, they're going to have to waive sovereign immunity. And if you remember from coverage that we did way back on like last year before, on Flop-Flocko Tribal Town and having their cases heard at the Muskogee Creek Nation District Court or Muskogee Creek Nation Supreme Court, you'll remember that the ultimate resolution of all of that was the federal courts saying that yes, the Flop-Flocko Tribal Town government does have the ability to withdraw a waiver of sovereign immunity in the Creek Nation Court, right? So if they have the ability to withdraw a waiver of sovereign immunity, getting into the Creek Nation Court to decide this leadership dispute is going to be equally difficult because the tribal court is going to have to figure out who can sign the waiver of sovereign immunity just like a state court. So anyway, but that's all on our website, and the story is there. You guys can read it all, and there's links to all of the materials as usual. So what was the other one? City of Henrietta ordered to stop prosecution of Native Americans. I don't know if you guys heard about that. We have a story about it on our website. You could check that out. Is there anything you guys want me to look into or talk about while we're waiting? Let me actually go back to the election office's page and see if we have results. We do not yet. Okay, so what is going on now? We've already played the archive that we had set up for tonight. I don't know what we could do. Well, let's do this. we can go back through and take a look at the Constitution's rules for amending the Constitution, just so, because that's what we're doing tonight with this election, you guys. Let me pop this up. So here's where we are. I am at the Supreme Court of the Muskogee Creek Nation. I'm looking at the Muskogee Creek Nation Constitution. It's important to remember that this version that the Supreme Court has on their website has to be updated by the Supreme Court, and sometimes that updating lags behind actual amendments, right? So some of this that's a caveat I want to insert there. Now, the amendment to the Constitution, part of the Constitution, has not changed, so we should be fine on that. I'm just scrolling down. So you can see here, Article 9, Amendment of the Constitution. Section 1, this Constitution shall be amended by passage of an amendment ordinance before the Muskogee Creek National Council, which shall require affirmative vote of 2/3 of the full membership of the National Council for approval. We've got that. Oh, Angel is asking about festival events. Okay, let's go take a look at that. So, festival events. If you guys go to Google and you put in Creek Nation Festival 2026, it'll bring up this page here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Well, that's too much. Sorry. And you click it, and then they have a whole website that's dedicated to the festival. And it tells you, it has a countdown clock here. There's even a video that you can play. I don't know if my audio is set up to, or I can do that. Hold on a second, guys, before I play that. Let me make sure I'm not going to get the audio from that for copyright purposes. I don't want to bork my stream. I think it's okay. I don't think the audio's going through. Right? Yes. Okay. So there's a video you can watch with highlights, but there's also let me pause this. There's also the schedule. And right now, even though it's about to be June, what they have here is still, it says tentative schedule. So you can see that the next event that's listed on here is Saturday the 6th. There is going to be a car show, and that's I believe that's the Res car show, right? And then on Sunday at 2 p.m., there's a scholarship pageant at the River Spirit Casino Resort. So this coming weekend, not this weekend, is going to be the Princess Pageant, and that's why we're going to be debuting that from the Vault video that you guys watched earlier on that week, like probably Thursday or Friday before then, is kind of a way to promote the scholarship pageant. It's not the Princess Pageant anymore, it's the scholarship pageant. And then the next weekend is the Junior Tennis Clinic and Chair Volleyball. The clinic is at Hawthorne Park, and the chair volleyball is at the Muskogee Dome. And then the next weekend, Friday the 19th, is the Elder Gathering, Youth Basketball Tournament, and the Slow Pitch Tournament. All of those are going to be at the Claude Cox Omniplex, with the Elder Gathering and the Youth Basketball Tournament being in the Dome. Now, something else I wanted to mention too, and if you guys want to go through all these, this is something else that I wanted to show you guys in relation to the festival. Let me go back and check the election board's page real quick, see if we have any results. We do not. But if we go to the Creek Nation's website, I'm going to go to, let me go to the top. If we go to the Creek Nation's website and we scroll down here, I think it pops up here. Where is it? Here, this. Okay. Let's see if I can I look at this? Hold on, let me go back. Just a second, guys. I want to whoops, dang it. I didn't want to do that. Hold on, let me start over. Oh, okay, cool. I want to go here, and then I want to open image in new tab. Okay, so why am I doing this? So there's construction going on the roads that lead to the fairgrounds, and it's still going to be, I don't think these roads are going to be open for the actual festival. And if you're familiar with the area, you will know that normally on festival, you come in through this area here, where this is the intersection of 75 and the loop. And you come here, and then this is the rodeo arena, and then you have the Muskogee Dome and all that stuff. And normally you enter here, you park down on this little thing. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor, but that's the normal method of operation. Now, because these roads are closed, you're going to have to enter up here to the north on Gun Club Road, which is how you would normally go to this is the industrial site, the industrial complex up here. And so it's something to keep in mind if you are going to go to the festival, that there's only going to be, like, I think only one route in, and it's going to be this Gun Club Road route, right? If you've never been up there, I would go check it out before the actual weekends of festival, because that way you will be prepared for the roads, the traffic and everything. It's going to be there's going to be a lot of traffic. So that I wanted to point that out, because the festival website, I don't know if they have it on that information on the festival website. Let me see if they do. It doesn't look like it. So this is where you can get the schedule. Let me go and check the event page too, and see if there's any difference there. If a non-tentative schedule has been posted. Normally, I guess not. I don't see a different one. It's the 50th anniversary of the festival, if you guys didn't know. Let's go back and check the Facebook page and see if we have any results. Not yet. So that's where to go to get your festival information there. It's creekfestival.com. If you guys have any other suggestions about stuff you want to take a look at, we can. I'm going to close those tabs. Let me take a look and see what's going on here on the chat. We do not have results yet. Okay. What do you guys want to talk about? I'm just looking through the page here. And if you're wondering, if you don't want to watch the live stream and you just want to check this for yourself, the link to the election office's Facebook page is in the description of this live stream. You can just click it and go over there. You just need to refresh it every once in a while, and eventually the results will be posted there, hopefully. We do, as I mentioned earlier when I started the stream, we do have unofficial results for the early voting and the absentee voting, and let's just take a look at them right now again, because we're waiting. So you can see here, these are the 2026 special election unofficial results, and it's the absentee voting and the early voting. And over here you can see the totals with the percentages. Now, as we were talking about earlier, the Constitution, right, requires it for an amendment to pass a 2/3 affirmative vote of the eligible voters who vote in a special election called for said purpose, right? So that these percentages over here, that's, you may be asking yourself, what percentage is 2/3? So 2/3 of 100% is 66.66%. So that's the number that we've got to get past in order for amendments to become amendments to the Constitution. It has to be 66% or over, I'm assuming. And this first one here is NCA 26-060, which, if we go to the sample ballot, right, we'll see that that is the amendment to change to remove Creek and replace it with Muskogee in the Constitution and everywhere else, right? So in these absentee and early voting results, we can see that only 57%, right, have voted for that. So if we were going by just those results, this amendment wouldn't go into the Constitution. If we look at the other amendments, 26-061, 26-062, and 26-063, they're 84%, 80%, 77%. That's plenty for those amendments to get in the Constitution. And again, just to remind you, these are the absentee and early voting results, and they're unofficial. So these numbers will also get mixed with day of voting results to get the final percentage. And the final percentage that we're looking for is anything from 66%. So 66% and above, I believe, is what will pass the amendments. The other amendments, we could go in and look at them, but I guess we could do that. Let's take a look at the other amendments. 26-061 says, if for any reason one or more Supreme Court justices recuse from a case, special justices shall be appointed in the same manner to ensure that 7 justices hear each case. The appointment of the special justices shall only be for a particular case and shall expire at the conclusion of that case. Okay. 26-062 says, the special election may be called by the principal chief and combined with the general election if the constitutional amendment ordinance is enacted at least 90 days prior to a general election. Okay. 26-063 says, it adds a couple of words in Article 6, Section 2. It says a term of 4 years beginning with and it strikes first primary, beginning with the 2027 election cycle. There shall be an election for 1 council representative from each district. These 8 seats shall be designated Seat A. The 2029 election cycle shall be an election for 1 council representative from each district. These 8 seats shall be designated Seat B. Council representatives shall be limited to a total of 3 terms, whether served in consecutive terms of office or non-consecutive terms. A term shall not include a partial term created by election to fill a vacancy. This law shall become effective with the filing of Seat A terms beginning in January 2028, and only terms served after passage of this law shall be counted towards establishing a 3-term limit. Okay, let's check see if we have results yet. We do not. So that's what the ballot says, guys. Since the polls are closed, we're just waiting now for day of voting results to come in. I will mention to you, though, as it's mentioned in this post on the election board's Facebook page, that any results we get tonight and for the next week will be unofficial results until Friday, June 5th at 5 p.m. And the reason that is because normally there's a challenge period that candidates, if you're in a regular election, candidates will be able to file a challenge to the election. I don't know if you could file a challenge to a special election for constitutional amendments. Maybe you could. I guess you could. Like if your ballot didn't get counted or something and you want to go to the trouble of filing it would be a process where you would have to pay to file in district court, and then it would go through district court, and if you wanted to take it to the Supreme Court, you probably could. I don't know what the grounds for those challenges would look like, because normally the grounds for previous election challenges are stuff like voter fraud or irregularities and things like that. And I don't know if to file those challenges, you have to become a party to that. You have to be impacted by it, And typically courts will say that, just voting in one of those elections, it doesn't impact you, but who knows? You'd have to go into file it in district court and see what happens if you wanted to challenge it. But that's why that period is in there, is to allow for those challenges to be filed. And then if there aren't any challenges filed, they make them official results. So that's the process in a nutshell. What else do you guys want to talk about? Let's see here. We still don't have results. Let's take a look. Yep. What's up? What else is coming up? I'm looking at my calendar back here. In June, we are going to be shooting another episode of the Muskogee Gardening Show. Right now, I'm scheduling with Courtney about when we can shoot it, and then there'll be a period where we need to edit it and all of those things. But probably by festival, we can get that video out. Let's go back to the festival schedule. We can, let me check this one more time. We can look at that again. I don't see any comments in the chat there. If you guys have something you want me to talk about or look at, pop it into the chat and we will go look at it. Let's go back to the event schedule. Where is that? Sorry. Here we go. We were previously on the 19th. So Saturday the 20th is youth basketball tournament. The slow pitch tournament and the tennis tournament. The youth basketball tournament's going to be at the Dome. The slow pitch tournament's going to be at Claude Cox Omniplex. The tennis tournament is going to be at Hawthorne Park, which is the same location that the Junior Tennis Clinic from the 13th was. At 9 a.m. on Saturday the 20th, the Youth Fishing Derby is going to be at the Rocking Z Ranch. That's on Highway 75 between Glenpool and Okmulgee, if you guys don't know where that is. 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. is the Res Car contest, which is at the Claude Cox Omniplex. Earlier I said that the 10 up here, the Saturday the 6th, the 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. was the car show was the Res Car, so I was wrong about that. I don't know what the car show is up here on Saturday the 6th, because normally we do have the Res Car contest, but it's down here on the Saturday 20th, and that's at the Claude Cox Omniplex. And then traditional games will be from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., and then they will also be at the Claude Cox Omniplex. I don't know what traditional games are going to consist of this year, whether they're going to have cornstalk shooting or the other stuff that we've seen in the past, because I think last year they didn't have cornstalk shooting. But I'm not for sure what we're going to be doing for traditional games. Let me go up at the top here and see. Hold on, I got a buzz. Somebody might be trying to tell me the results are in. Nope, not yet. Okay. Somebody sent me a message and I had hoped that it was the results, but it's not. We have an events thing up here. Let me look and see if we can find out what the traditional games are going to be this year. Okay. Yes, groovy. So it looks like, let me open this up. Ugh. So I can zoom in. Traditional games is going to be social stickball 2 to 6 p.m., bow shoot 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. It says this will be a setup for anyone who would like to learn how to use a bow or would like to know how to make their own. This will also serve as an educational interactive display. 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. blow darts. So they're going to show you how to use blow darts. 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Wahoo. And it says there will be 4 boards to play with. Each table and game will have their own scorekeeper. They're going to have a turtle race, which starts at 2:30. A Hope stone making, which starts at 4. Muskogee storytelling, Muskogee food education, Muskogee clothing evolution. It says this will be an informational booth providing education on the clothing that Muskogee people wore pre-removal during relocation and what people wear in current times. That's cool. There's the contact information on there. All right, so that's great. So we're learning stuff, guys. We're learning stuff at the festival. The other thing that I was curious about, sorry, let me go back to where I was. Traditional games. So what is the difference? Let me look at this, because this is where earlier I said the car show was the res thing. Let's look at the car show, because I'm curious as to because when is that going to happen? That's going to happen on Saturday the 6th. So is it this Saturday? No, it's not. Is it? Yes, it's this coming Saturday. Let me go up here and go to the events and look at the car show and see if they have a separate flyer for that. They do. It says entry fee. Can you still do it? It says pre-register online, so I guess you can. Entry fee is $25. It says all cars, trucks, and motorcycles welcome. $25 entry fee. Registration is open to all. Register online or day of event cash only. $3,000 of cash prizes. For first place, you get $500. Second place, $300. Third place, $200. It says for more information, contact Derek Powell, 918-752-8263, or depowell@muskogeenation.com. Or they even have a QR you can scan here to register. Let me check the page, see if we have some results. Not yet. So that's the car show. I don't know if that's new for this festival, but that is interesting. It's being put on, it looks like, by Muskogee Nation Fleet Management. Okay, let me go back to my list of events. We'll scroll down here. What were we looking at? Oh, now, that was the car show. Let's look at the Res Car Contest. For you guys that maybe aren't familiar with what that is. Here we go. So Res Car Contest, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. June 20th, Claude Cox Omniplex. First prize $300, second prize $200, third prize $100. There's an entry form here. It says 4-wheeled vehicles only, must be native, vehicles must run. And then it has, for more information, call Whitney Tiger 918-732-7925 or email muskogeenationfestivalparade@gmail.com. I don't see a deadline to, saying that you can't do it the day of, like the other one has. So maybe you can. If you guys don't know what a res car is, it's basically like a stereotypical car you would see on the reservation. They're kind of beat up and missing headlights and stuff like that. You have the car show, which is kind of like, I'm assuming they want the best example of the car that the person is showing, right? Like a pageant type of thing. And the res car is the opposite. It's like the most junky looking car. So let's go back to our event list. I'm going to check our page here and see if we have results yet. No, not yet. We'll go back to the festival page and see what else is on here. I haven't seen this before, the Youth Fishing Derby. This is going to happen 9 a.m. on Saturday the 20th at the Rockin' Z Ranch. Let me look at the page for that, because that is something I haven't seen before. Whoops, it disappeared. Hold on. Fishing Derby. We can get some information about the Fishing Derby. Muskogee Nation Festival Youth Fishing Derby. 12 years of age and under. For more information, contact Recreation Department. 918-549-2998. Do you have to pay to... It says must be 12 and under to register, only accepting the first 80 attendees. Okay, so that's important to keep in mind. It says it's at Rockin' Z Ranch, 2275 US 75, Beggs, Oklahoma. So it's in Beggs, actually. All right. But it is on US 75. So let's go back. That's interesting. I'm going to take a look and see if we have results. Whoops. We do not. Okay. Let's keep taking a look at this schedule. Where were we? You guys know what the tennis... So Sunday the 21st is the tennis tournament, the slow pitch tournament, and the cornhole tournament. Tennis, again, is at Hawthorne Park. Slow pitch is at the Claude Cox Omniplex. And the cornhole tournament is at the Muskogee Dome. And then the festival week, Wednesday the 24th, Muskogee hymn singing, 2 to 4 at Muskogee Dome. Thursday, the 25th, is the Living Legends, which is going to be at the River Spirit Casino Resort. Let me see if you have to pay to get into Living Legends or not. I don't think you have to, but let's look at the flyer for it since they've got it set up like this and see what they have there. It says nominations are now being accepted. Living Legends and Chief's Choice Awards. And it says here, please mail or hand deliver nomination forms to Muskogee Creek Nation, Office of the Principal Chief, Attention Living Legends, P.O. Box 580. Email forms to adaney@muskogeenation.com. Let's see here. It doesn't say anything about you have to pay to get into it, so maybe it has info here, 918-732-7605. So maybe you don't have to pay to attend that. It is at the River Spirit. It says the Living Legends Ceremony and Chief's Choice Awards will be held on Thursday, June 25th, 2026 at 11 a.m. at the River Spirit Casino and Resort in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay. I didn't really answer my question, but that's okay. Not all questions can be answered. Let's check and see if we have results. Not yet. Okay. Where were we? Living Legends is where we were. Yeah. Okay. The health fair is from 4 to 7 at the Muskogee Dome. The Bull Bash is going to start at 6 p.m. at Bob Arrington Arena. And then from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Thursday the 25th is going to be the Fun Fair. And at 7 p.m. is when the Stomp Dance is going to start. And you guys know from watching the channel that every year I always do a Stomp Dance video. So if you want to get in the video, get to that Stomp Dance and dance. And if you do a good one, I'll put you in the video. Friday at 7 a.m. is when the Junior Olympics is going to start. And this year, this is going to be at Beggs High School, right? Also, the golf tournament's going to kick off there at Page Belcher Golf Course. Let's take a look at the golf tournament page because I myself do not know where Page Belcher Golf Course is. And hopefully they will have the address there in case you want to go to that. Oh, it says here all spots are full. So everybody that can get in there is in there. It says here Page Belcher Golf Course is at 6666 South Union Avenue, Tulsa, Oklahoma. So shotgun start is at 8 a.m. So it's full up. But let's go back to our list here. Golf tournament, Allie Reynolds statue dedication at 10 a.m. Let me see if they have a flyer for this. If you guys don't know who Allie Reynolds is, maybe they have some information on that. Oh, I'm getting a buzz from my phone. Maybe it's telling me that there are results. All right, we have some results, guys. Let me pop this up in a new tab. Okay, so here we have the 2026 special election unofficial results for, it looks like everything. We have the absentee voting, we have the early voting, and we have election day voting. So for 26-060, which again is to change the name to remove Creek and put Muskogee, the traditional spelling in the Constitution and everything, that has a total of 57.36%. So that would put it where it's not, that would not pass the 66% threshold that we had talked about earlier, so that amendment failed. We have here the 26-061 is at 76%. So that one the Constitution would be amended with that. 26-062 is at 78%. So that one's good. And 26-063 is at 81.88%. So that one's also good. So it looks like the results that we saw earlier from absentee voting and early voting held out for election day voting, in that the 26-060 amendment did not pass and the other three did pass. Again, if you guys want to go back and read that, what was on there, the ballot, that's, you can go to the, do I have that page open? Hold on a second, guys. Let me close some of this. There. To see what the sample ballot, if you go to the Creek Nations website and you go to the election board part of the Creek Nations website, they have a link here to the sample ballot, and that's where I got this sample ballot that has what actually got passed. It looks like right now, barring any changes from the challenge period, right? The unofficial results are showing that 26-060 did not pass. And that is the it says, shall the Constitution of the Muskogee Creek Nation be amended to replace Muskogee with the traditional spelling of Muskogee, which is MVSKOKE, and delete the word Creek throughout the Constitution, including in the illustrated official seal in the Section 3 of Article 1 of the Constitution, and to establish a following savings clause in the newly created Section 4 of Article 1 of the Constitution, which says, Article 1, Section 4, all laws, resolutions, ordinance, enactments, and official acts of this tribe under its former name of Muskogee Creek Nation shall continue in full force and effect under the name of Muskogee Nation to the extent that they are consistent with this Constitution. So that looks like it did not pass. NCA 26-061, which says, if for any reason one or more of the Supreme Court justices recuse from a case, special justices shall be appointed in the same manner to ensure that 7 justices hear each case. The appointment of the special justices shall only be for a particular case and shall expire at the conclusion of that case. That amendment got, where are my results? No, this one goes away. That amendment got 76%, which is enough for it to pass, so it did pass. NCA 26-062, which says, the special election may be called by the principal chief and combined with the general election if the constitutional amendment ordinance is enacted at least 90 days prior to a general election. That got 78.35%, which means that it passes. So that's in the Constitution. And then NCA 26-063, which adds the term limits, basically. It's a lot. I'm not going to read through all of it, but you guys get the idea. It also passed. So these term limits, according to the amendment that's been passed, will begin... It says, this law shall become effective with the filing of Seat A terms beginning in January 2028, and only terms served after the passage of this law shall be counted toward establishing a 3-term limit. Okay, so that wording right there, I'm curious about, and I'll explain why. It says, this law shall become effective with the filing of Seat A terms beginning in January 2028, and only terms served after the passage of this law shall be counted towards establishing a 3-term limit. So my question here on this, and this is just me reading this, is if there are seated councilmen that are seated during the filing of Seat A terms beginning in January 2028, when the law becomes effective, I'm assuming that's when the counter count starts for those seated councilmen, right? That's how that reads to me. So that's the results, guys. Or actually, let's confirm yes, 81%. So there we are. Again, these results will remain unofficial there, you can see, until Friday, June 5th, 2026 at 5 p.m. So, thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate the views, but we are pretty much done. And next week, keep your eyes out for that From the Vault if you're interested in the 1977 Princess Pageant. I wanted to show that to you guys who tuned in here tonight because you guys are the most hardcore of the hardcore. You know, like it's a special election and an off election year, you know, so I wanted to give you guys a little treat to see something that not many people are going to see. And then the video by itself, the From the Vault, we'll put it on our Facebook and all of that stuff, a link to it, probably at the end of next week as a way to say, hey, the scholarship pageant's this weekend, and here's the 1977 Princess Pageant, or as much of it as we could get off of the archival tape before we had a problem. With that being said, Mado Hadam and Chihichat Lees.